There are some jobs where you just have to have experience to get hired. Doctor, lawyer, barista. All these require you to learn a craft for years before you can be considered for the role. But politics isn't one of them. In fact, it's quite the opposite. Sometimes having experience in politics is actually a hindrance to getting elected. We're talking about people who have spent their whole lives in government. When they retire, they lose an election because voters think they're too old school. Asterisk, so how do you break into a field where youth is valued over experience? You need someone who is young, but also someone who has a deep understanding of how things work. Someone who is young at heart and young in age. And we think we have found such a person. Let me introduce you to Singapore's next Prime Minister. He's 44 years old. His name is Lawrence Wong, and he might look familiar to you. Asterisk, you might remember him from the COVID-19 briefings. He was always beside the Prime Minister, taking notes and nodding along. You might also recognize his voice. He was the soothing presence on the other end of the phone whenever you called your bank to block your card after failed attempts of buying concert tickets. Or maybe you've seen him at the National Day Parade, dancing with fellow cabinet ministers. Yeah, that guy. Asterisk, when Wong first appeared at the COVID briefings, social media erupted with the question, who is this guy? At the time, he was co-chair of the multi-ministry task force handling the pandemic. It was a new role created by the government to deal with the crisis. That's when Wong really entered the public eye. But he's been working in the civil service since 2000. That's 22 years. Asterisk, it makes sense why he seems to know how everything works. He has literally spent his entire adult life figuring out how the levers of government work. So what exactly does a 44-year-old Harvard grad do for a living? What kind of experience does he have? Well, let's start with education. Wong studied economics at Harvard, which is probably why you often hear him talk about how a healthy economy is the foundation of a thriving society. Asterisk, he did not go straight into politics after graduating. Instead, he spent 5 years in the private sector. He worked for a financial company called DBS Bank in London, and then came back to Singapore to become chief economist of the government's investment arm, Temasek Holdings. He spent 8 years there. In total, Wong spent almost a decade outside of government, gaining valuable experience in the private sector. Asterisk, after that, he joined the public sector in 2008, becoming the permanent secretary of the Ministry of Trade and Industry. Basically, he was the top civil servant there. He was in charge of planning and coordinating policies, making sure ministries stay on track and on budget. The Prime Minister once described him as someone who gets things done, and he's got the track record to prove it. Asterisk, Wong was involved in key economic projects like the $23 billion Global School, a plan to turn Singapore into a global education hub. He also oversaw the restructuring of Singapore's manufacturing industry during the pandemic. He led the effort to roll out support measures worth billions of dollars. These were rolled out very quickly, and they helped businesses and workers tide through the difficult period. Asterisk, he was also co-chair of the task force with Trade Minister, and together they gave regular updates on pandemic measures and economic relief packages. If you were watching the briefings, you would have heard them say, "Let me update you on the progress of our discussions." Those words became an instant meme and a source of comfort. Too many people joked that they sounded like an old married couple, and that was partly true. They had been working closely together for months. They knew each other's talking points inside out. Asterisk, but it wasn't just about memorizing what to say. They had to deliver the message with conviction and empathy. Singaporeans were going through a tough time, and Wong understood that. He took the time to learn the stories behind the headlines. He visited workers and businesses affected by the pandemic. He even went to the airport to check the crowd situation. That's something he used to do when he worked at the Ministry of Transport. Asterisk, at these briefings, Wong rarely spoke with notes. He delivered his lines off the cuff, displaying a remarkable grasp of the issues at hand. Even foreign journalists were impressed. One wrote, "It was hard to argue with Wong's technocratic confidence." Asterisk, in 2021, Wong left the Ministry of Trade and Industry to take on a new challenge. He became Minister of Finance and Chairman of the Monetary Authority of Singapore. This was around the same time that the economy started to reopen, so he was at the helm of the recovery effort. His job was to navigate competing priorities. On one hand, he needed to protect jobs and businesses. On the other hand, he had to guard against inflation. He did his best to strike a balance. He rolled out measures to help companies and workers while keeping a close eye on prices. And he succeeded. Singapore emerged from the pandemic relatively unscathed. Its GDP contracted by only 0.6% last year. Unemployment also fell to pre-pandemic levels. Some economists expected higher inflation in Singapore, but it never materialized. Prices rose by only 1.5% last year, much lower than countries like the UK and Japan. Now, inflation is still a problem here, but it's mainly due to global factors. Oil and food prices are up, so local businesses have to raise prices as well. Despite these external pressures, Wong managed to keep inflation low. He did this by building up Singapore's foreign reserves. Unlike many countries, Singapore did not spend its reserves to fight the pandemic. It built up its reserves instead, and that decision paid off. Now, there is no shortage of money to stabilize the currency and maintain financial stability. Because of his performance during the pandemic, the Prime Minister entrusted Wong with more responsibilities. Last year, he handed the Finance Ministry to Wong, allowing him to focus on economic policy. So this is the man who is tipped to be Singapore's next Prime Minister. He's young, but not too young. He's got the right mix of experience in both government and the private sector. Most importantly, he knows how the economy works and how to keep it running smoothly. He's got a good head for numbers and a good heart. He understands the challenges facing ordinary Singaporeans, and he'll do his best to help them. But don't call him Mr. Nice Guy just yet. Economics is a tough game. There are times when you have to make unpopular decisions. You have to choose between competing interests, and sometimes you have to take a stand, even if it's not the popular thing to do. One example is the recent minimum wage law. It raised the pay of low-wage workers, but it also made it more expensive for businesses to hire foreign workers. Many businesses complained about the new law, but Wong stood firm. He said the government will review the minimum wage every 2 years to ensure it keeps pace with inflation. Here's another example. During the pandemic, Wong pushed for a carbon tax. It's a fee on emissions that pollute the environment. Most countries have one, but not Singapore. Some businesses opposed the tax, but Wong pressed on. He said it's important to put a price on carbon because it motivates companies to cut emissions. These are just 2 examples, but they show you the kind of leader Wong is. He's not afraid to make tough decisions, even if they're not popular. He's principled, and he's got a clear vision for where he wants to take Singapore. Now, let's talk about that vision. What does Wong want to achieve? How will he improve the lives of Singaporeans? Well, he hasn't spelled out a detailed agenda, but we can glean some clues from his speeches. For one, he's clearly focused on the economy. He wants to create good jobs for Singaporeans and ensure that everyone can benefit from economic growth. He's also talked about the importance of social mobility. He wants to make sure that everyone has the opportunity to succeed regardless of their background. Finally, he's emphasized the need for a strong and united Singapore. He wants to build a sense of community and belonging among Singaporeans. He also wants to reach out to other countries and build good relationships. It's still early days, but Wong has the makings of a great leader. He's got the brains, the experience, and the heart to do the job. He's young, but he's not inexperienced. He's got the right mix of idealism and pragmatism. And most importantly, he's got the trust of the people. Last month, Lee Hsien Loong announced that he had chosen Wong as his successor. It's a big honor and a lot of responsibility. But Wong is up to the task. He's ready to lead Singapore into the next chapter of its history. Who is Lawrence Wong? He's a 44-year-old economist who has served in the civil service for 22 years. He's worked in various ministries, including trade and industry, finance and education. He was also co-chair of the task force handling the COVID-19 pandemic. In June last year, He was appointed Minister of Finance and Chairman of the Monetary Authority of Singapore. In January this year, he took on the additional role of coordinating economic policy. On February, Prime Minister Lee Hsien Loong announced that Wong is his chosen successor. What are Wong's priorities? He hasn't spelled out a detailed agenda, but he's focused on three key areas: the economy, social mobility, and national unity. What are the challenges facing Wong? For one, he needs to build trust with the people. He's not a household name yet, but he needs to be. He also needs to build consensus among the elites. Not everyone will support him, but he needs to win them over. Ultimately, he must navigate a complex global environment. The pandemic isn't over yet. There are still risks to the economy. Wong needs to be prepared for whatever comes his way. Will be following Wong closely to find out more about his story. In the meantime, you can watch this video to learn more about Singapore's next generation of leaders. Thanks for watching. He's an economist by training. He spent a couple of years in the civil service before entering politics, and he has spent the last 7 years as a member of parliament. So he's not exactly new to the job. Indeed, some have described him as the most qualified Prime Minister in Singapore's history. I'm, of course, talking about Singapore's 4th Prime Minister, Mr. Lawrence Wong. He has been selected by Lee Hsien Loong to succeed him as both Prime Minister and Chairman of the People's Action Party. In this episode, we'll take a look how Mr. Wong got to where he is today. We'll also find out why Lee Hsien Loong chose him to be his successor. Before we begin, if you haven't already, please subscribe to our channel. Let's start with a quick recap. Where's Mr. Wong from? How did he get into politics? Well, Mr. Wong graduated from the National University of Singapore with a bachelor's degree in economics and went on to obtain a master's degree in public policy from NUS as well. After graduating, he joined the Ministry of Trade and Industry in 1980 over the next 2 decades. He held various positions in several ministries, including the Ministry of Finance, where he helped craft economic policies and budgets. In 2001, he was appointed as Permanent Secretary of the Ministry of Health, a position he held for 11 years. During his tenure, he oversaw major developments such as the implementation of the baby bonus scheme, the introduction of the MediSave, MediShield, and Medifin schemes, as well as the setting up of the National Healthcare Group and the restructuring of the Singapore General Hospital and the National University Hospital. In 2012, Mr. Wong left the civil service to join politics. He was first elected as the MP for West Coast GRC in 2013 and has been re-elected twice since then. He served as Minister for Culture, Community and Youth from 2015 to 2018, Second Minister for Finance from 2018 to 2021 and Minister for Education since 2018. He's currently also the Chairman of the National Research Foundation and the Chairman of the Monetary Authority of Singapore. So as you can see, Mr. Wong's resume is quite impressive. But what really caught the attention of many was his appointment as co-chair of the PAP's 10th term Central Executive Committee in July 2020. At the time, he was one of 4 co-chairs, the others being Prime Minister Lee Hsien Loong, Deputy Prime Minister Heng Swee Keat, and Minister Chan Chun Sing. Lee had said that the 4 co-chairs will work together as a team and share responsibilities in managing the party. Then, in May 2022, Wong was appointed as the chairman of the PAP's Powerful Nominating Committee, a move widely seen as grooming him to be the next Prime Minister. Now fast forward to February 2023. Wong has officially become the PAP's second-generation leader and is set to succeed Mr. Lee as Prime Minister. He's also the first Prime Minister who was born after Singapore's independence. So why did Mr. Lee choose Mr. Wong to succeed him? Well, in a Facebook post, Lee explained that the PAP's decision was unanimous. He wrote, "The CEC is confident that under his leadership, the party will continue to be strong and the government will be in good hands." Lee also shared that Mr. Wong has the qualities and capabilities to lead Singapore. At this critical time, Now, while it's not unusual for leaders to groom their successors, it's not common for them to name their replacements so far in advance. The announcement of Mr. Wong's succession is unprecedented in the sense that it gives Singaporeans a clear indication of who will be taking over as Prime Minister. This also means that Mir Wong will likely serve multiple terms as PAP Chairman and Prime Minister. Indeed, Mr. Wong's journey to the top began long before he entered politics. His deep understanding of economics and his vast experience in the civil service have prepared him well for the challenges ahead. But perhaps more importantly, Mir Wong has also proven himself to be a capable and effective leader. Under his leadership, the Ministry of Education has implemented several initiatives to enhance the quality of education in Singapore. And as Minister for Education, he has shown a deep commitment to the well-being of students and the education sector as a whole. Mr. Wong has also been praised for his calm and steady leadership style, especially during the COVID-19 pandemic. While some may have expected the sudden shift to virtual learning to cause chaos within the ministry, Mr. Wong's quick thinking and decisive action ensured a relatively smooth transition. Of course, no leader is perfect, and Mr. Wong has faced his fair share of challenges. Some have criticized him for his handling of the recent demerger between Singapore Press Holdings and Singapore Exchange, with many accusing him of lacking the necessary expertise to oversee such a complex transaction. However, these criticisms are but a small blip in Mr. Wong's otherwise stellar career. In fact, it was this very decisiveness that Mr. Lee had in mind when he announced Mir Wong's succession. As Mir Lee wrote, "We must make sure that our next generation of leaders is ready to take over and continue our nation-building project. Lawrence has the qualities and capabilities to lead Singapore at this critical time. He is a strong and decisive leader who has the confidence of the CEC and the grassroots." All in all, Mr. Wong's rise to the top is a testament to his hard work and dedication. He's a true trailblazer who's broken barriers and shattered expectations. His journey is an inspiration to us all, a reminder that with hard work and determination, anything is possible. Having entered politics in 2011 and worked his way up to the top, Mir Wong has been in the public eye for the past 12 years, so he's no stranger to public scrutiny. In fact, he's often praised for his ability to connect with people from all walks of life. Whether he's meeting with grassroots leaders, attending community events, or speaking at National Day rallies, Mir Wong always brings his A game. He's articulate, charismatic, and down-to-earth. This is not to say that Mir Wong is perfect. Like all of us, he has his strengths and weaknesses. But what sets him apart is his willingness to learn and grow. Over the years, Mir Wong has shown a remarkable ability to adapt and evolve. He's embraced new ideas and perspectives, and he's not afraid to make changes when needed. This flexibility has allowed him to connect with people from all walks of life and build consensus around his vision for Singapore. Some have criticized Mr. Wong for being too cautious or risk-averse. However, given the complexities of the issues he deals with, this is not necessarily a bad thing. In fact, many would argue that it's precisely this level-headedness that makes Mr. Wong such a good leader. He's able to stay calm and focused under pressure, and he's not afraid to make tough decisions when necessary. Ultimately, whether Mir Wong succeeds or fails as Prime Minister will depend on a number of factors, including the challenges he faces and the support he receives from the people. But one thing is for sure, Mr. Wong is more than qualified to take on the job. He has the experience, the knowledge, and the leadership skills to do an excellent job as Prime Minister. All he needs now is our trust and support. What do you think of Mr. Wong's appointment? Do you think he's the right man for the job? Let us know in the comments below, and thank you for watching.